Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, Fabulites. It's been windy here all day. Okay, so I got a question for you. What opens with a dad kidnapped from the trunk of his car while he's only trying to get his child's Transformers and his child is in the back seat? And what all closes with someone who seemed to be tortured to death being revived by the love of Rebel. If you guessed Rebel Season 1, Episode 8, Redemption, you're correct. Please stick around for my review and my recap. So, we got the drug dealer Brim. He's at the trunk of his car, and he's snatched up by 3 to 4 masked men in a gray van. I didn't know it was gray, but by the end of the episode, I did. His son Lion protests, "No, don't take my dad, stop!" From the back seat of the car when he finally realizes what's going on, but he does notice the tattoo on one of the kidnapper's arms. And then we see Rebel with Chi, Mac, and Jimmy. This is like the foursome for this episode. Everybody's cool now, and they're all working together for good. And they're looking at a video of Lieutenant Charles Gold had given to Rebel, right before he has been missing in action. So Jimmy says that he knows that Vaughn is a good guy, even though he sees evidence to the contrary. He knows this man, he's a good man. Then we're at Brim's place, and the son is wanting his daddy while he's being entertained by the young guy with locks who worked with Brim. Remember him, y'all? Okay, so Rebel plus the White brothers show up. The son is like, "My daddy is gone, they took him." And Mac is like, "Who?" And they find out that it's the gray van guys. And she's like, Rebel is like, "They ain't playing. What does Brim have that they want?" And the locks guy is like, "Well, what had happened was we stumbled on this lick. It was a whole bunch of cell phones. And last night I moved the cell phones from where they were into a storage facility. But what had happened also is that I didn't get a chance to tell Brim where they were because they got them now." So Reb is like, "These guys have been disappearing, folks. And they come back and they shells of their former self. They're torturing them, trying to find out where these phone stashes are." So Rebel does a little youth therapy session with young Lion. And she finds out that there were 3 men. They were in a gray van. And one of them had a tattoo on his arm that looked like a cross, but was a sword. Ooh, it's warm. And then we find out right at that scene, because Mac gets a call from the hospital, that Jimmy has not been to visit his mama in 4 months. And he didn't even want to go when Mac gets the call that she fell. What? I guess that explains some of his hostility and ugliness that we had seen exhibited before, but we don't see too much of it anymore. What happened? Now he's redeemed. He's not a misogynistic asshole racist anymore. Huh? Okay. We see Brim in the torture chamber. They got a hood over his head. It's like 2 to 3 guys, including Texas, right? Texas is one of the people that have come to torture him and interrogate him. And they decide that instead of playing Russian roulette, they're going to play a game that's much more fun. It's called Oakland roulette. And the way you play that is that you have 5 full chambers and 1 empty chamber. And then they put the gun to your head, and you don't know if you're going to get one of the 5 full ones, like a bullet, or the empty one. So that's real fun. They put the gun to his head. "Where is the phone stash?" they ask him. Okay, so then we're at the hospital with Mac and Jimmy and the mom does not recognize Jimmy. And we find out that the mom escaped the facility. She got about 10 blocks, according to the facility she fell, and a good Samaritan found her. Now, the mother's story is that she was mugged, and she's sticking to that story. The facility is insisting that this woman needs to be in lockdown, as they've been recommending for a while, but they're not going to continue to work with her unless she's in a lockdown facility. Now, the problem with that is that the lockdown facility costs $6,000 a month, and Mac has been paying for it all on his own. Jimmy is out of the loop money-wise. He don't help with the mama. And Mac can't afford to go up to the $6,000 by himself. So then we see Rebel and Chi at a strip club. They're there for Ashley. I don't know if they hook up with Ashley, but then the next thing in my notes is that Ashley is having sex with Texas. And I don't think that was in the strip club. And Rebel, Mac, and Jimmy bust in is what I have in my notes. But only the brothers talk to him. Tell us where Brim is. And then the brothers come back and they tell Rebel that he didn't talk. And he didn't really seem to know what was up. And no, we didn't beat him because we're good cops. We don't beat people. You don't want us beating people, right, Rebel? And Rebel was like, I'd have beat him to get the information. Okay, so then we're at Rebel's place, and the foursome, the awesome foursome, is in figuration mode. So Rebel is like, Vaughn executed my brother. And Jimmy is like, whoa, there's no evidence to that. And Rebel is like, we all saw. Pick a side, pick a side. And that's the end of that scene, basically. Then we're back at Brim, the torture of Brim. His hood is off now, but his top is covered in blood. His face is bruised and bloody as well. The torturer is saying to him, you're going to talk. And he's like giving him some water. And Brim is like, I don't know nothing. And he spits the water out. And the torturer puts a plastic bag over Brim's head. And the boss comes in. He's like, hey, we need him alive to find out where the phone stash is. And then they get a call, and he leaves after he gets the call. And I think it was from Vaughn. Was it from Vaughn? I think it was from Vaughn. Okay, so then we see Vaughn meeting up with Jimmy. And Jimmy is telling him about his mom. You know, my mom is in the hospital, and my brother is on me for money. Like, I don't have a wife and kids. This is what Jimmy is saying to his good friend Vaughn. And he's asking, can you help me out? And Vaughn is like, I got a couple of dollars on it, but other than that, no, I can't help you out. You know. And Jimmy is like, you know, I heard you got something on the side. And the guy is like, where you hear that from? Jimmy is like, I heard it from Rebel. You know, the dum-dum thinks that we've bonded since we were in that car accident. She thinks we best friends. And Vaughn is like, yeah, I got nothing, and I gotta go. And then Mac comes and he gets Jimmy. And Jimmy is like to Mac, he's dirty. And Mac is like, how you know? Jimmy is like, he wasn't offended when I asked him if he had something on the side. And then we see Vaughn shaking off Rebel and Chi, who have been following him. He just stops at the green light, and then all the cars are beep, 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 beep. And then right before the light is going to change, he goes, and there are a few cars behind him, so they can't catch up with him. But that means that he knows, and we know, and everybody know that he know that they know that it's known now that they is following Vaughn. You know, it's known. It's known. Y'all know? I know. Okay, so then we find out that Texas is dead. The awesome foursome all reconnect, and they figure out that it is Vaughn, not Texas, who's the boss. And they also figure out that Rebel is bugged. That's how information is getting out and through and in the mix. And so they go to Rebel's place, and they find the bug, and then they say for the bug, so the people who are listening will know that Brim doesn't know where the phones are. But Reb reports that she, by putting a gun to the guy with Locke's head, she was able to get the information about where the phone stash is. And I thought she said she had a key. But anyway, they give the address and everything, you know, to the bug. Okay, so then we're back at the torture of Brim. The Asian guy is showing Brim a picture of his son. That's basically more torture, like letting them know, I know where your boy is. We after him. He's taking off the hood. He puts a gun to Brim's head, and he's interrupted by his colleagues. Now, you know, this interrogation process and just life in general, Brim and this Asian guy, they not really close. The Asian guy, he don't really like Brim. He really want to kill him. But he's interrupted and shooting them, and his colleagues are like, we found out where the stash is, come on man, come on. And the Asian guy is like, you know, I'm gonna come back for you, he says to Brim. And then he realizes, yeah, I'm gonna kill you slowly. And then he hits him in the ear. I think he hit him with the phone, but I'm not really sure. And then we're at the storage place, and we're waiting for the torturers. And Mac and Jimmy, at Jimmy's insistence, take a cop call that's 3 blocks away, and that leaves the 2 women there to deal with the torturers. And as soon as Mac and Jimmy pull off, the gray van of torturers pull up and they start loading the stash from the storage into the gray van. They got what they came for. And then they're following the gray van, and Reb is pulled over, or we think it's Reb. She's pulled over by a cop car after a call goes out over the police radio about Bolo, be on the lookout for an African-American woman in a 4x4. And but when they roll the window down, they think they got this African-American woman in the 4x4 is Chi. So Chi and Rebel, they had switched cars. See, they met up at the light. We thought they was just chit-chatting, but they switched cars. They switched vehicles. Oh, Lord, that's what I was worried about. Okay, I'm going to hold it. So we see Reb at the torture spot. And she calls Mac. She tells him that they got the phones, and she's going to text him the address of where she's at. And Mac is like, do not go inside. And of course, Rebel goes inside, right? Well, she doesn't go inside. She's spotted, and there's like a shootout, and then the guys escape in the gray van, and then Rebel goes inside, and she sees Brim. Thank God she went inside, because Brim has a plastic bag on his head. She takes it off, and she's CPRing him. She's giving him CPR, and it don't look good. And the brothers come in, and the brothers are like, he's gone, Rebel. Rebel, no, he's gone. And Rebel flashes back to her brother Malik's death, and she keeps CPRing Brim. She's like, you know, I'm not gonna give up, damn it. Come on, damn it. And then Brim gasps, and he's alive. And she says, call 911. And that's the end of the episode. All right, y'all. Thanks for being here. Thanks for watching, liking, commenting, subscribing, sharing, and all of that other good stuff. Be you, be fabulous you.